What's good, YouTube? And welcome to the house. It's that time to point fingers at all the other Yugitubers for buyouts, because this market channel has never caused that to happen. Looking at Simo's channel, he has really hyped up Crystron Phoenix as kind of the thumbnail of a video he just did, and it's more of a situational one-of that you can or can't play in virtual world. Yes, if you click on it and read it for the first time, you might go, that's a pretty freaking good effect. Yes, it is a really cool card. Also, we mentioned, you might be surprised that other Crystrons exist in general. Sutff and Phoenix got buyouts earlier within the week. I'm not sure if it's because of ice barriers or some machine deck. People have been saying all sorts of different things about these cards. But when you go through them, Sutff, yes, it's a pretty good water machine tuner with a decent level and effect. Then you get to Crystron. You read this card. If this card is synchro summoned, you can target monsters your opponent controls and or in their graveyard up to the number of synchro materials used for the synchro summon of this card, and then banish them. That is pretty crazy range. It's Trishula-esque. And then if the synchro summon card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can target one banished monster, except this card, and special summon it to your field. An ultra rare without a reprint from Raging Tempest. If you're just reading this for the first time, yeah, it sounds really crazy. Also, Crystron Phoenix, people kind of ignore its materials. One tuner synchro monster, or 1+ or more non-tuner synchro monsters. You need a synchro and a synchro for this. If this card is synchro summoned, you can banish all spell and trap cards your opponent controls and in their graveyard. If the synchro summon card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you target one other monster in your graveyard and special it. Again, a good secondary floating effect on top of an amazing situational first effect that is pretty darn good. And you do kind of have this machine synchro, but also tuner, so keep in mind it needs to be a non-tuner synchro, so you can't use Martial Metal Marcher for this one. Like, you gotta decide what you're using and how you're bringing it out. It's a bit kind of crazy that all these Crystrons are getting bought out. Now, I'm not done pointing fingers. Team Samurai X1, how dare you hype up ice barriers? The ice barrier structure deck came out, and as you know, whenever a structure deck does come out, it tends to cause some buyouts that we cannot foresee. Even Market Man is not all seeing with his time-traveling info broker knowledge, and Geomancer has gotten bought out from Hidden Arsenal too. I don't really think it's all that good. It is a tuner, sure. It is a level 3. Once while this card is on the field, you can discard a card and declare an attribute. Monsters with the declared attribute cannot select this card as an attack target. It is played for its level and being a tuner. And then also you see Powered Insectron getting a buyout. I haven't heard that name since we were looking at a level 6 for its attack stat after Goyo Guardian got banned. So yeah, also when this card is synchro summoned this turn, it can't be destroyed by battle or by card effects, and you take no damage. Good for it. You see people prepared, 88 of them. They don't really care. They're just like, please take any of them from me. I'll probably sell it cheaper, and we'll see this fall back out on the market. So a little bit of Yugitube hype, but you can't help that when you're doing content. You're showcasing something you're excited about, or that you would personally be building. Other people look at it, and if it makes sense to them, they go and spend their money. Sometimes it doesn't make sense necessarily to me, but people are going after it. And then the Crystrons, I can understand reading these for the first time. Fibrax is broken, but these are pretty cool too. Just calm down a bit with your money. But if you are making 500 IQ rash decisions on the market, use that TCG player link in the description down below, costing you nothing extra to support the channel directly for the cards you'd already be buying. Also, speaking of tubers, Pendulum Best Deck. Pendulum, call both common and super, are really short on quantities. The super rare has been a target of buyouts in the past, and we're seeing it run out on market, and the common is almost the same price. I just spend a couple extra bucks and get the super if you can. Now, speaking of sponsors, Yu-Gi-Oh! Black Market, you can use code What'sGood5 for 5% off your purchase, and to support the channel, has the Egyptian God bundle up already at $18 and then 5% off. Cheapest you'll find it on market right now, and I don't know how this structure deck's gonna pan out. I don't have the greatest feeling about it. I love that I can just say whatever I want, right? Like, sponsor, by the way, they have these, but I wouldn't necessarily be jumping at them. I think that they're just going to be putting the Prismatic Godbox cards in there, and they need some banger reprints to really sell this. Konami might put their best foot forward, considering it's Slifer and Obelisk, but after them pulling evenly matched back out of a structure deck, I'm not sure that Konami's still on that front of giving us the best for our structure decks. Also, it is a TCG Premier structure so far, without any indication what might be in the OCG, so the product team, again, might really want some success with sales. I have a suspicion that the reprints will be good, but we never know how that's going to pan out. Now, speaking of a really weird thing that I didn't know, KC sleeves, this was an officially released sleeve, one of the best of all of the ones they've done individually. They are up towards $27. We look at those new ones like the God card sleeves they're releasing come up in the summer, or we're looking at the Dark Magician Girl Dragon Knight. You might think they're good long-term holds, but I do want to say this. Think of your sales rates. If you're getting a ton and putting them aside, when you put them on market, think of your sales rate, and if you put a ton on market, think of how other people have to undercut you and underlist you in order to sell theirs. I can't imagine this has the best sales rate, but it is a very cool sleeve. It was also released in the OCG, so it's kind of crazy to see those quantities gone too, between two different releases across the board. But yeah, they're up in price if you have some sealed. Tsukiyomi. I'm never surprised when GOAT stuff gets bought out. People came into the stream, why is Blue Eyes up in price? I teach ya to be better than this. I teach you guys to answer your own questions. So I've had somebody ask several times why Duelist Saga Tsukiyomi's up in price. It's a GOAT format card, and also it's the only holographic outside these. The first edition rare or the DR common might be desirable, but people do like max rarity, and this is the closest you're going to get to the ultimate rare, which is spike time after time after time again. Goes down towards 50, goes up towards 100, goes down towards 60, goes up towards 115 now, and we see this is the only other holo and a unique rarity that is divisive but has other GOAT cards in it, such as Magician of Faith, and the rest of the options, while somewhat desirable, also super low on quantities and hard to get truly near mint, whereas this is probably easier to get near mint. That would be why it's going up. A GOAT card with very few selections and the easiest to get holofoil version. Oh my gosh, what Gravekeeper Spy 765. Imagine like a Team Samurai X1-esque Reactuber to the market. There's a market for you, but I'm not personally that guy. Duelist League buyouts never really have me that way, because the buyout is super easy to do, super easy to relist at, not necessarily anywhere near that sales. As you can see, the market price on all these are ridiculously under, but again, going to GOAT format, this is a tech option. It's not as if the Duelist League is suddenly somewhere ahead of the championship pack version. And also the gold rare got bought out, which is how we even got to this point. Somebody on stream was like, yo, the gold Gravekeeper Spies bought out. Actually, a ton of them are bought out. We saw the DT get bought out a while ago, and you can still see market price not really skyrocketing or anything. So, funny listing, but no, you're not going to get there. Actually, speaking of Dark Magician Girl, I've shown you those on a couple of market watches. There's a listing already on eBay for 300. If you're going in and trying to buy these at 500, you're gonna keep buying them to try to keep that market up, and it's a very losing battle. People have stacks of these that you don't know about, and it's not the most unique version of the cards, or even best version. El Shadol Construct first edition has been bought out once again. You can see the unlim. There is one motivated seller with low feedback just trying to make a sale at 48 before it is 70 for the unlims, and then the first edition's very near 100. A lot of Shadol hype has been happening, and speaking of the structure decks, they are above $20 now. I had people on stream, wow, they're on sale, $7 at my locals. You might want to be grabbing those. It does have very unique cards, 2 Shadows that you want to play, and I also do like the alter arts with them. Like, I'm bad, I don't like the matching copies, I want one of each copy. So, I do think it's actually a decent buy for what it offers, and you see over here it's at 22. If they're on sale at your locals, why not try to buy 3 even if it's not on sale? Apparently it's half price versus online, and get yourself a good old Lost Art promo or a couple OTS packs, depending on what your locals is offering as an OTS store if you want to support them. Athena has been bought out to ridiculous proportions. The DT, I saw Nimnim. Well, you know, we're on Twitter just talking about all the Yugitubers here. I saw Nimnim post that his store that he works for sold multiple batches of 30 of these at a time. And he's like, why? What are you doing? If you read the card, it's basically used for degenerate FTK. phase. Each time a fairy monster is summoned, inflicts 600 damage to your opponent, and also once per turn you can send a fairy monster you control except the theme of the graveyard to special summon a fairy monster. So not a hard once per turn, somewhat loopable, and an infinite burn effect as long as you're summoning. Fairies have ways to really do this, and I don't think it's going to be consistent or anything, but people going after good old Athena. Judgment of the Light Sealed has been sold out, and also sold out on eBay, the lowest listing being near here, and it brings up the topic of Zexal sets. 5Ds is considered vintage at this point, and Zexal is the last anime that really got people into the game that were kids. Utopia! Yay! I love Utopia! People really do remember that as the last Ace Monster. Like, you get to Arc 5, and whatever you want to call it, and you get into Vrains. Vrains has a cult following, but it didn't really get kids into the game over here in the US. In fact, it's really hard to watch. It's over on Pluto TV, and whenever I say what Pluto TV is, I get a bunch of questions on what the heck is Pluto TV? What do you mean? It's completely free to watch thing, not a sponsor at all, and it runs ads to get money, but you can watch the Vrains dub over there. It's the only place, and it's not as... I think Sevens would be amazing for bringing kids into the game. I think Sevens would be a huge answer, but I digress. Why this is getting bought out, I think people are now targeting the Zexal boxes as they see the last cheap boxes that have ghost rares, that have ultimate rares, and I do think the ultimate numbers are very undervalued for what they are versus all the other ulti buyouts that are memorable, and I think you will see more number buyouts after buyouts. We've seen them go from like 5s to 10s to 12s. I do think you'll end up seeing a lot of those ultis head towards 30s and 50s, but you can never predict the market and what Konami's gonna do, and respect that first edition stamp at times. But yeah, huge buyouts on this. There's also the deluxe edition boxes around, but I would think first boosters are how to go. Now, a bit of a penny stonk, Scrap Weaver, and remember, Scrap Raptor is on its way. This is a card you'll likely be heavily interacting with that card and using, and it's under $2 still. It's been rising. You used to be able to get these at 70 cents. I told you guys to get them then, 90 cents, and it's just gone up over time. You can see some motivated sellers here if you happen to be shopping their store, top rated sellers, but it does go up towards $2 very, very quickly. I suggest getting it sooner than later. Scrap Raptor will likely have a huge impact. Now, a card I did cover recently, but Naga. Venom and Naga, the deity of poisonous snakes. Her first edition, the unlimbs are actually up when I last covered them too, but the first editions are towards 300. Again, it just goes with that line of secret rares versus the value pulled versus things. Yes, Snakes got a lot of hype thanks to the upcoming Ancient Guardian set, but I don't think this is necessarily going to get played. It's more just attention brought from somewhere else that ends up loosely tying in, and people go, oh yeah, she was a thing. She actually could be a LARP promo at some point. I don't think that would affect the first edition too much, but you never know. Return from the Different Dimensions Super Rare has been bought out. In terms of past formats, I think your window for playing this is very slim because Return That is there and then Return gets slammed. And after that, you know, the first edition's a couple more dollars towards 14 when the others are 9. I would go first ed, and it's hard to get these in Nearmint. If I recall, some of them have foil edging problems, but with this card, I think for past formats, a lot more people say Teledad than Return Dad 2, even though that's my format. I don't know. I think that it is interesting when people go after ban cards and buy out ban cards and what happens. You can see the market prices for. I just think, despite the iconicness of this card, there's other things you probably should be after if you're looking at past format stonks, but I do respect the hustle. Bahamut Shark has been bought out on all forms. Not sure about this one, if there's a specific deck coming, or if it's just Toad's back, baby. I'm not sure why people are going after this again, but it is a pretty good card to be bringing out Toad if your deck has accessibility to it. Cyber Twin Dragon, continuing those Cyber Dragon buyouts as people prepare for the Cyber Dragon structure deck. Hopefully we're getting it, unlike the Dragoonity structure deck. Cyber Twin Dragon, DT, completely out of stock. People just looking for everything Cyber Dragon, and actually, if I were to suggest a version of this, the Secret Rares for Cyber End recently got bought out. The Secret Rare matching for Cyber Twin Dragon, if you're not looking at the Ultimate Rare, is an insanely nice looking version of it. The unlimbs are still left relatively cheap. The first edition's around 15. I could see this going up as well, but I don't think sales rates will be good for any of these cards after. What they're realistically hoping for is that they're trying to preempt the buyouts because of structure decks, and you can't predict what a structure deck is going to sell out. So they're trying to get things now and hope Cyberstyle bumps it up, then they hope to list before the next round the buyouts, or they're just truly Cyber Dragon fans that think this is stonks. There's two different roads, and again, Legendary Duelist Season 2 helped hype Cyber Dragons, so I do see there's multiple reasons that people could be going after this, but I realistically think it's just people trying to make a quick buck as a structure deck potentially heads towards us. Archfiend Eccentric has been bought out. This is a throwback. I remember how solid of a Pendulum card this was. It was a cover on a playmat for Origins, if I recall, Columbus, YCS, and she is up first edition lowest towards 10 and 12. So yeah, this is a really cool Pendulum card. I'm not sure that it's actually seeing much play. Little tech from back in the day. Maybe past format Pendulum's gonna be played one day. And finally, a good question from stream. Honest, first edition, do you think it's a good buy? And when it comes to cards like this that have a competing higher rarity of itself, because we've been talking about first edition secrets, I do think it's hard for it to be definitive because it has a natural higher rarity that people respect in Ghost Rare. That's why they linger cheaper for so long. I do think the first edition's a decent buy. The Unlim, maybe not so much, but surprisingly cheap here as well. But yeah, that's what keeps it in check. And there were $50 copies around, still around there, 53, and the reason people are selling these so cheap is it has that competing self version, and you can see on a lot of cards, actually, what else was brought up? Chaos Neos, which has two higher if you count the Ghost Rare misprint, but Chaos Neos here has its secret rare being relatively cheap for the cover card, first edition. Oh my gosh, hero name. $35 for a cover secret rare where you're seeing stuff like Magma Neos double in price, more niche and forgotten, even less talked about, but it's because it's checked by its higher rarity. I do think these are stonks, but we'll have to wait and see how things play out long term. And there's also like that curse. Rainbow Dragon just broke its curse of having another secret rare version that it had surpassed, with the 10 always holding it down, so it's also behind its Ghost Rare and the misprint, but Rainbow Dragon getting more respect over time. I do think there's undervalued cards out there, and we'll see how they go long term. Thanks for watching today's Market Watch. I know it was pretty long. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed the conversations, and I will be on 5th Rated Duelist. I will be on their live stream tonight, talking and answering more basic market questions. So if you're just entering the market, that kind of stuff, catch that live stream. It'll be pretty fun.